Do you ever look around and think, wow, the world is a crazy place, and it just seems to get crazier and crazier? Ease your mind and take a break. This is Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We're a hub for inspirational Christian sermons, practical keys for Christian living, and Christian discussions and interviews. You'll be inspired to live the life that you were created for. Your host is a top-ranking podcaster, best-selling author, world record holder, aerospace engineer, life coach, evangelist, and founder of John Giftah International. Welcome to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah.
So we're continuing this series on the aspect of discovering our God-given gifts and talents. Today I want to remind you and caution you of something very important. As we're talking about taking steps and following what God has called you to do, you have to be very cautious that you don't fall prey to the fact that you compare your beginning with somebody else's climax. You may be looking at somebody, maybe a role model or somebody who's walking in their God-given gifts and talents, which is similar to yours, and you're just saying, see how far they have gone, look at the kind of steps they're taking, and so on and so forth. And it's easy for you to compare yourself with them. Now, I think I've already spoken about the aspect of comparing with somebody else who has a gift in a greater dimension than you before. But today, I'm talking in this same aspect in line with the steps that you need to take. Okay, now what I mean to say is this, right? Now, if God has given you, 2 talents, or God has given you 1 talent, don't expect that you should give the output that is equivalent to the one who has been given 5 talents. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. In the sense of the parable of talents, see, God is not asking you for any unrealistic expectations out of you or an unrealistic, output from you. God is looking for what you can do it. That's all. What you're able to do, just do it. That's all God is looking for. That's what I want to remind you and tell you. Don't try to put yourself in a place where you put a pressure that, that person is taking a financial risk of so many $1 million and I'm not taking that much. Well, that person is already, having this much dollars, million or whatever. So equivalent to that, they're taking a risk. When you have just $1,000 with you, you're not expected by God to take a step or invest on some $1 million. God is not stupid, guys. God is not stupid. God is not stupid. God will not ask you to, for example, why I'm sharing is I used to put this pressure on myself. Like, okay, look at so-and-so minister of the gospel, they're able to do this, they're able to do that, they're doing this, their presence on different platforms at the same time, doing so much, and here I am, I'm single-handedly struggling to, manage the podcast, the YouTube channel, and somehow my presence on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'm struggling through because I work in a corporate job. At the same time, I do the various things that I do. It's not easy. Okay, to be honest, it's not easy. Almost every day I sleep by late in the night and just wake up early in the morning. That's kind of like my lifestyle right now. I don't have time for myself. I'm just putting so much of effort. But here's the thing: in spite of all that, I can never compare myself to get the output that somebody else is able to get, who's for the first part, they have enough resources, the money, the support, financial aid, they have connections, so many different things that fall into play. And God is not going to compare my output with their output and say, look at your output, it's less. I want you to understand that. When God gave the different talents, when you look at the parable of talents, the scripture is very clear that the master gives each one talents according to their ability. Right? God is going to expect an output that is according to your ability. God is not going to expect something that's beyond what you can do. Don't put that unexpected pressure to perform in a way that, you know what, oh, listen, this person has bought a Bentley or bought a house, in this fast locality. I don't even have money to pay my bills. I just want to say, I want to go and buy a house like them. That's foolishness. You have to understand there is a place where you have to understand that God also takes us through steps. Okay, if God has shown you one day, you're going to go to this level, you're going to deal with this many millions of dollars in your transactions, or you're going to go in this kind of a fashion where your ministry is going to impact people in this way, and all of that. Maybe God has given you those visions or all those things, but you have to understand how to balance between that and your reality also, right? God is not going to ask you to, like, literally, when you don't, you're just struggling to have a job, for example, and you're just struggling to meet your bills. God is not going to ask you, you know what, I want you to, go and get into a, like a mission-oriented thing for millions of dollars. Like, where will you get the money? And, you want, in practical terms, you can't get it, right? I hope you're getting what I'm saying. So you have to understand, God understands where you are. And listen to this. Like, for example, to a person like me, okay, who's dealing with certain kind of transactions. Now, suddenly, if I have to get into a transaction which costs millions of dollars or billions of dollars, I don't have the experience. I won't be able to, fit in with the language or with the, the thought process, the strategies that are involved. I won't be able to do that. So God understands, and He takes us through the step-by-step process. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Now, if you are a small organization, deal and learn and be your best within that level. So, see, believe in God for the big levels. All of that is true. And equip yourself. All that is true. But what I'm saying is, when you're, $1,000 organization, don't start having a budget with $1 million, comparing yourself with a $1 million organization and say, look, they are doing this, I have to do that. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Now, I want you to translate this into your life when it comes to your gifts and your talents, right? Don't compare your beginning stages with somebody else's climax. Oh, you know what, this so-and-so person, they're, organizing a big program, having all these big things. I also have to start right away. No, take it slow, take it step. You have that plan, go ahead, do it sometime, but then take it slow. Start with the little that you have. Learn, get some experience, make mistakes, learn. And that's the best way to go about it. See, for example, if you look at Mark chapter 14, around verse 8, if you see, there is this incident when this lady comes and puts perfume on Jesus and anoints, and all the religious leaders get very annoyed about this. But I want to just focus on the point right now. If you look at verse 8, this is what Jesus is saying. One line, and that's so powerful. He said, she did what she could do. That's it. Very simple line, but has so much to understand about the heart of God. Jesus is appreciating her and saying, she did what she could do. I want to tell you something. It's enough if you do what you can do. Don't put the unwanted pressure and unrealistic expectation to do something beyond what you can do. God is not asking you to do something that's beyond your ability. He's not going to ask you to bring an unrealistic output out of your life. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Alright? See, I'm all in for faith. I'm all in for believing in God for big things. All that is true. But I hope you're getting the context here. What I'm saying is, there is a place for being realistic in terms of the output instead of putting unrealistic expectations. Right? For example, when I organized the meetings for the very first time and all, I had faith, like, okay, fine, you know what, this is my first meeting that I'm organizing, so I shared with so many different people seemed like they are all going to come. I was like, wow. And I go there, I was thinking, you know what, this place is going to be filled, and so on and so forth. and the output was so different from what I expected. But here's the thing I want you to understand, that I'm glad that not everybody showed up, because in a way it was my first experience. It was something like a learning curve for me. I learned different things through different things. So just take it like that. You have to put in realistic goals in terms of your expectations. I hope you're getting right. See, like I said, even when I wanted to organize instance where we have renowned guests on the podcast, right? I've been trying many of them for many years, actually, to be honest. Like, I think prior to the podcast, I was trying through YouTube and all of that, maybe a year or two, but it was not working. But I started taking the step. I started, with the people I could do. I started working with people within my circle. So what happened was, when I started doing that, every step along the way, I was learning something, getting better. So when these people, when they agreed to be on the podcast, the first thing they did was they went and checked the podcast. They checked the different things I was doing. They checked what kind of interviews I was conducting, right? You get what I'm saying? You can't just directly expect, the richest man on earth to come and join your podcast. Like, if you want that person to come, or you want, some renowned person to come, you have to get to a place where you start somewhere. Yeah, okay? You start comparing, what, so-and-so has had, such and such a person on the podcast, I need to have. I mean, it doesn't work that way, guys. You're getting what I'm saying, right? It's common sense. You have to get your way through. You're starting in a place of small beginnings. Understand that. Don't compare, because I made these mistakes in my life, and I want to tell you guys, even for me, it's ministry, it's this podcast, but for you in your life, with regard to your dreams, with regard to your God-given gifts and talents, take a step little by little. Like I want to close with this example. If you want to test your swimming skills, you start with the pool in terms of the shallow water part, and then you go deep. You won't directly jump into the deep and don't know what to do, and you're strangled, or you're crying for your life. You get what I'm saying, right? That's stupidity. So that's what I want to tell you guys, and we'll talk more about this in the next episode. God bless you.
You've been listening to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We hope you were blessed and inspired to live the life that God has for you. Make sure to subscribe to the John Giftah YouTube channel for regular uploads of sermons, skits, interviews, and more. Follow John Giftah on Instagram for regular inspirational posts. And don't forget to check out the best-selling books written by John Giftah, Who Am I?, which will help you understand your identity, and the latest #1 bestseller, Unveil Your Purpose, helping you discover your purpose and to start walking in it. Make sure to leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends and loved ones. If you'd like to donate, you can find the PayPal link in the description. And if you'd like to invite John Giftah to speak at your event or to get more details, go to the website at www.johngiftah.com. See you on the next episode of The Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. God bless you.
If your heart stops beating now, do you know where you're going? If you came face to face with death now, do you know where you're going? And this is not a message of condemnation. This is a message of hope. There is a God who loves you so much. He sent His only Son, Jesus Christ, to come down and pay a heavy price by shedding every drop of His blood on the cross. Thank you for dying for my sins. When you believe in Him, you have free gift of salvation for you that assures us that we will go to heaven when we die instead of suffering in hell forever. I just encourage you today to make the simple step of faith and say, Jesus, I thank you for what you did on the cross. Thank you for giving me this gift of eternal life.